Alpha 1, open Alpha 2.
It's saying a rear door.
It's the rear door exit.
Someone's opened an outside door to the Sullivan County Jail
It's always a concern anytime an alarm goes off.
and may be on the run.
Extension up from Corridor 7.
False alarm. You've met the deputies who enforce the law down south
Keep your hands on the trunk.
We're gonna take her to the hospital because her face is messed up.
and the regulars they arrest. Now it's time to see where those inmates work,
They treat you with respect around here.
play,
This is how we do it in the county jail.
and survive in their home, away from home.
I'm in here right now for 2 auto thefts.
I just got 10 years with the federal courts for selling crack cocaine.
Ain't nothing good about it, just stupidity, young and dumb.
You get in it in Sullivan County and
Seen a
you
conviction
stay
rate in
in
Sullivan County?
highest conviction rate in the state.
Well, that's why you come back, because when you get out of prison, you have to come up with new things to make money because you can't find no jobs. Very few people have a success rate of getting out and never coming back.
The Sullivan County Jail in Blunteville, Tennessee is packed. Nearly 700 inmates live behind these bars in dorms of 6 to 30 roommates. Over in neighboring North Carolina, Ashe County Jail is set up differently. Here, inmates spend their days in open spaces and their nights in small cells, all under the watchful eyes of the Crow's Nest.
Everything that happens here goes to the tower. You can't get in, you can't get through any door, any module around the whole property without going through this tower.
If you're working up here, you've got a view of all the inmates. We can see them. It's like in the pods, but they can't look up here and see us. Hey, Mark. Yeah. Go tell Damien unless he wants to go back to the hole, he needs to stop. She's trying to cause trouble because they want to watch music channels. You have to watch fights or anything that indicates that there's going to be a problem and get someone in if you need it.
When you live with more than 20 bunkmates for months or years, a jailhouse brawl is not uncommon.
All right, guys. Guys, who was it? Which two? I need to know what suit it is.
You don't get that, man. You jail. You don't tell on nobody. You're in jail, man. You ain't gonna get that. In here, all we really have is our word and our heart. That's inmate code. I mean, you don't tell on anybody. I mean, basically, we're all family. We gonna do our job and not tell. Y'all do y'all's job and find out the best way y'all can.
We'll find out who it is. Don't worry.
I have all respect for the officers because I know they're doing their job. But in the same regard, we feel like it's the officer's job to find out on their own what happened.
They'll not tell on each other. It's right there. Yeah, they'll not tell on each other.
Y'all didn't say it was?
All right.
Go in there and check everybody.
Officers press for more information and soon locate a suspect. An inmate with minor eye and neck injuries.
He was one that was involved in the fight. They're now looking for the other one.
He owed me some money, and he didn't want to pay. He's owed me for 2 weeks now. This is jail. That's what happens.
I got organized my stuff.
A debt behind bars doesn't mean cold hard cash. Jailhouse currency consists of anything from snack foods to shaving cream. Items that can be purchased from the jail commissary and deducted from an inmate's account.
Yeah, people trade and they do like 2 for $3. He's gonna give me one back and some cookies back too. That's how many people owe me.
But an uncollected debt led to a brawl. And authorities still need to find the other inmate involved. Finally, someone comes clean.
I blew up my face and he hit me, so I put his ass over in the corner and started hitting him back.
It all started over toaster pastries.
I owed him 15 Pop-Tarts. I got him paid down to 8 Pop-Tarts, which would really be 5 Pop-Tarts because he taxed me so high. He comes being all hard about it, and we just settled the debt there.
As punishment, authorities confined both inmates to isolation cells. In jail, solitary confinement is reserved for those who pose any type of threat, or in some cases, inmates who are suffering from alcohol or drug withdrawal. Both Sullivan and Ashe officials estimate that nearly 90% of all crimes in their counties are drug or alcohol related. Take Johnny Grubb. 2 nights ago, deputies arrested him for failure to pay child support.
Set your liquor down.
He was drunk when they picked him up.
Come back to this truck back here.
Now he's got no choice but to dry out in an isolation cell. Johnny is well known to officers. This is his 24th time in Ashe County Jail.
So how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Sugar staying down?
Yeah.
Your blood pressure?
Yeah.
I'll see you later. You need anything, holler, okay?
Okay.
We'll keep checking on you.
I will. Thank you. When I get on binge drinking, I'll drink a half a gallon or more a day. I lost my wife and home because of that. It's just a road to destruction.
Don Nixon's been fighting the same demons.
I got a DUI. I've been here 7 months. I had a pretty good job until I came in here. Of course, you know, you lose all that, lose your car, lose your license, lose everything. I lost my older sister December 17th. Yeah, so I missed a lot.
For Savannah Ramey, the same story.
We kind of kid and call her frequent flyer because she'll do the same thing and she'll come back in here. I mean, she's been in here 11 times. It's funny to me to watch how they've grown up.
They picked me up on 3 violations of probation, which were for my drug charges and my thefts. So I'm trying to get right this time. I've been doing this for 8 years, 9, 10 years, coming in and out of here. It's ridiculous. Say it every time I come in, everybody says it. Oh, when I get out, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get out. Well, it don't work that way. When you get out, it depends on what environment you're in, on how it's going to be played out, so.
Come back to this truck back here.
This time, Johnny, Don, and Savannah are on a mission. Not to just serve their time, but to clean themselves up, earn the respect of the jailers, and get out for good. If they can make it.
Oh, we ready for the game. We ready. Everybody ready to see this Denver.
It's Super Bowl Sunday in Ashe County Jail. Denver versus Seattle. And the bets are going down.
Seattle, baby.
Denver, you going to Seattle?
Put desserts on.
There's no money to wager, so the stakes are even higher. The next day's mealtime desserts.
Tomorrow, lunchtime and supper time.
Dinner and supper. I'll be eating double desserts tomorrow.
I'm getting some stamps, desserts, some soup. I got about $8 bet on this game.
The game turns out to be a blowout. Seattle 43, Denver 8.
43-8? That's embarrassing.
In Vegas, winners would get a lot of cash. But here, they get a lot of pudding.
I lost mine at the Super Bowl. So now I'm trying to trade my green beans to get some pudding. No, not looking good.
Picking Seattle, we made a little wager in here, and I won 4 stamps, 2 soups, 50 push-ups, and 2 desserts off a lunch and supper tray.
In both Ashe and Sullivan counties, there's a certain status attached to the cell block where an inmate's assigned. Wealth doesn't matter, but good behavior does, especially in Sullivan, where the fewer problems you cause, the more square footage you get to share. The baddest of the bad guys live in isolation, barely enough room to do a handstand. A maximum security dorm provides much more room, plus some people to talk to. But to keep the peace, they need to elect a leader.
They call me Cell Boss.
PCS, Sullivan County Max, Cell 3, Cell Boss, right there.
They clean when I need them to. Listen down my laundry. I'm a laundry man.
The same goes for women's cell blocks. Having the right roommates can make a big difference in how fast or slow the time flies. Every inmate hopes to earn what's known as trustee status,
Need 2 more, Croft.
which allows them to leave their cell blocks to perform prison jobs.
It's a complete world of difference. Your day goes by 10 times faster. Meryl, let's ride.
But only those jailed for non-violent offenses are eligible.
Thank God. I've waited for this, and I've been good to get it.
They have to prove to administrators that they're well on the way to leading a responsible, crime-free, drug-free life.
9 months in the same cell, no trouble. It pays off. And now I get to work, you know, and the time will go by faster.
Hello, Mr. Nixon. How are you today?
For Don Nixon, this is a very big day. He's been trying to become a trustee for months,
Let's go ahead and get your hand washing.
and he's finally made it. Getting a Sullivan trustee orange striped uniform, a hair trim,
Looking good, Mr. Nixon.
and most significantly, a job. For the first time since being jailed, Nixon won't have to spend his days cooped up in his cell.
All right, let me explain something to you.
Trustees are strictly supervised by a designated officer.
I put the potatoes on, slide it on down to the next guy.
Becky Puckett, also known as Mama,
Get a level scoopful at a time.
gives the inmates a crash course in jailhouse cuisine.
All right, boys, y'all go ahead. Put a little more potatoes on. I love doing this. It's like raising kids over again. These guys in here, we all make mistakes in life, you know what I'm talking about? We're here to get it, correct it, and go on with their life, you know what I'm saying? None of us is perfect.
As a trustee, Nixon is eligible to live in one of the more spacious cell blocks in Sullivan Jail. He can join other inmates on their daily hikes, 52 steps before turning around and heading back. Some inmates walk for hours.
Yeah, between the two of us, we're in the park.
Over in Ashe County, it's also a big day for Johnny Grubb. After a week in detox, shave, and a haircut, he's also made trustee status.
This is the first time I've been trustee, and I'm glad that I got to be one. Like when we get a visit, we get to visit with her family. Don't have to be locked in a cell at night. Just pretty much got more freedom.
Johnny, you doing all right?
All right, are you?
Fine, you looking good.
I'm feeling a lot better.
Yeah, so you're a trustee?
Yeah.
Johnny's a good feller. Well, he's got a chance if he would, if he just apply himself. Hopefully he will. I'd much rather be a trustee than be sitting back there in that cell.
I had to. I'll see you, Kevin.
I'll see you. Take care, Johnny.
All right.
I don't want to be the one that's going to have to do the report when someone calls and he's dead from alcohol poisoning or has a heart attack. Oh, Lord.
After serving 24 jail terms, Johnny's trustee status finally earns him a job in the Sing Sing Cafe.
We know Johnny. He's a hard worker. He's very polite. He's very courteous. He's very kind. We have a couple other trustees that are working with Johnny.
You're doing a fine job, Johnny.
These guys work literally sun up to sundown every day. I mean, they're up at like 4:30 in the morning, and they go pretty much nonstop. And every day it's a stellar performance by all of them.
This is a very good jail. They treat you with respect around here.
I have no idea what anybody's done on the other side of the wall. And in reality, it doesn't matter. Everyone deserves good food. It doesn't need to be fancy or 5-star or anything like that, but it needs to be nourishing and taste good.
Nothing goes out of here that I wouldn't feed my family.
Elizabeth, you want a potato? All right. Quality control.
This food's like way better than any place I've ever been locked up, and I've been locked up in several counties.
You know, we goof up every once in a while, too.
We've had some epic goof ups. Fish and cheese sandwiches. I'm an Ashe County boy. I'm a gun-toting, Bible-thumping, good old boy. Jackie's a liberal anarchist.
What more can I say to that?
Okay, maybe not anarchist. It might be a little
extreme.
Jackie. It's that time.
Would you guys like to join the circle?
Hey, Johnny, we're going to have a little prayer. You want to join us? Okay. We have a prayer here in the mornings. It's just something that's important to me and to a lot of these ladies in here as well. Holy Father, thank you for the people that are here this morning and those people that you put in my life. We just ask again, Holy Spirit, that you just be in this place and just ask that it be a safe haven for those that are in here. And we just thank you and praise you. In the name of Jesus, I pray, Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. All right.
You know, this is a family, including the trustees. They're here for a couple of months or whatever. Then they're gone, and you miss them.
I like to say to them, I don't ever want to see you again unless it's on the outside and you're in a suit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
For the first time in years, Nixon and Grubb are starting to feel good about themselves and their futures.
Back one piece, just like I gave.
But there are troubles ahead. Serving time in jail is all about survival, physically, emotionally, and psychologically. Some have a much harder time handling it than others.
I'm here for violation of probation, first offense. I got 1129. It's 11 months, 29 days. I don't like being away from my family. I've got 3 kids and I do not like being away from them. This is the first time that I've ever been away from my kids.
This place is really, it has broke me down a lot. And I can't let this place get the best of me. This ain't me. This place is not me.
While Star sits alone in the tank, other inmates make the best of it, turning jail time into one big cell block slumber party.
This is like, if you go to Carowinds, make sure you leave. Never ends. It never ends, and you don't even get pizza or good pizza.
The younger ones always, they think it's like a party in here and it's fun, and it's not. You know, you come here because you've done something wrong, you need to do your time.
Yes, Mom, I'm still making alcohol. This is a bottle of hooch. Nice. It's awesome. You're not supposed to have it, of course. It's like a double espresso with lots of caffeine. They snort coffee. I don't snort coffee. Talk about jacked up. This is how we do it in the county jail. Not coming back to Ashe County.
Fighting boredom does have a way of bringing out creativity.
I mean, if you let these guys just wall out, they'll do all kinds of crazy stuff.
Hairstylists find new uses for mixtures of maple syrup and orange juice. Pastry chefs do their best with whatever might be edible.
Here, you try.
And tattoo artists, all they need is ink.
This is hair gel put inside an orange. Take a piece of paper and line it really tight and they put it down in there. Once this is lit, they'll put this inside this hole here. It'll smoke, a lot of black smoke, until this is covered with black smoke. Then they'll take a playing card or something and they'll scrape this black smoke off of this. They'll take like the cap off of a toothpaste and fill it with this black powder and add just a little bit of liquid to it and stir it around, and that's their tattoo ink.
Possessing and smoking tobacco in jail is forbidden. But when inmates somehow happen to get some, they come up with an elaborate design for a lighter.
We ain't got no cigarettes to smoke, but when we do got something to smoke, this is how we light it right here. I'm getting the lead out of this pencil to put in this toilet paper to make a striker to pop the socket. This touches the positive and negative like this on the socket, and it causes sparks that catch the toilet paper on fire. And go around like a cigarette.
Smoking tobacco in jail might not seem like a big deal, but it can have serious consequences.
This is a tobacco-free facility. Inmates can't have lighters, cigarettes, tobacco of any kind.
If you get caught with tobacco in here, it's 120 days to our time we got.
Today in Ash, word's gotten out that inmates have smuggled in tobacco. So it's shakedown time in the cell blocks.
What's going on? Come on. Back over here. Come on, over here in the corner. Where's your lighter at, your smokes? You don't have smoke in here. Yeah, there's no smoke. None? I smell it. I'm over here against the wall.
Man, that's great.
They search every nook and cranny of the cell block, only to find what they're looking for in the middle of the floor.
You gonna kick it across the floor, then?
Now they need to know how the smokes were smuggled inside. A trustee free to move out of his cell to work is a likely suspect. And Johnny Grubbs in the spotlight. In Ashe County Jail, the hunt for the tobacco smuggler continues. And trustee Johnny Grubb is a prime suspect.
We're just gonna get the one, so I want them to put everybody up in the holding cells. My officers called me at home. They said they had searched and they had found some tobacco. We're not sure how that got in. It's similar to a game. They see what they can get and we see what we can take. We're gonna go back and search a couple of the isolation cells. We had some phone calls that we listened to. Had one inmate that was planning on his family bringing some tobacco and getting it to my trustees. One of my officers Sunday had suspected that Johnny was involved in it.
The investigation starts by removing every inmate from his cell. Next, a strip search.
Bet you enjoyed that, didn't you?
With no contraband found yet, officers begin the tedious process of examining every personal item and space that could possibly hide tobacco.
I have a deodorant bottle, and the bottom of those deodorant bottles is a perfect place to hide stuff, so.
Just come here just for a minute.
We're searching the laundry because if they want to get something back in the pods, that's usually how they do it, through the laundry. Just stick him somewhere for now. The trustees, you know, sometimes you get ones that you can trust and you don't have to search them as often. What you got in your sock player and do your pants there? Where do you have him?
His pocket.
He's going back in the cell.
It turns out the culprit isn't Johnny Grubb, but his fellow trustee, Chris.
Is this the the other trustee?
Yeah, he's the one that had the cigarettes.
Someone sent me cigarettes that I don't know. They felt like I was gonna pass the cigarettes to somebody, so they put me back in the block and took the cigarettes. I wasn't gonna give nobody no cigarettes. I ain't hand nobody nothing. I don't do that. I go out there and I work. I do the best of my ability, and that's all I can do.
You just take it as it comes. I just think, well, I made a mistake with this one. Sure, it's like a letdown because you do trust them.
40 to 50% of Sullivan and Ash inmates return to jail within 3 years. Many work to improve their chances of getting a job by studying for high school equivalency exams. Some try gaining willpower to resist the drugs and alcohol that got them arrested in the first place.
Walk the walk. You don't just talk the talk.
All right, ladies, who's going to chapel?
Savannah Ramey knows she needs all the help she can get. She's got a court date coming up to determine if she'll be released on her own recognizance.
My family's bad on drugs. When I walk out of here, that's the first thing I'll be put in my face. It's everything under the sun. I can't walk in my house without seeing somebody in another room selling a drug or doing a drug. That's how it's always been since I was little.
Lots of times I've heard people, if they'll admit the truth, they've said, coming in here saved my life.
Yeah.
Coming in here led me in a different direction. Coming in here woke me up. And you know what? There's a lesson in every struggle. We can choose to be a victim, or we can choose not to be. Amen. Thank you. I love you guys.
We love you. And walking out of here and going, then walking right back into that same thing. It's going to be all confused. It's going to be all anxious and worries.
I'm going to give you my phone number. And if you have a problem, you call me. You hear me?
I will.
Savannah's fortunate that she's even up for release. Star Bellamy has a much longer wait.
I've got one girl and 2 boys, and they are my world. My brother and sister-in-law have custody of them.
And they brought them for a visit through closed-circuit TV.
Jonna Star is the oldest. She will be 11.
You are getting so beautiful, baby. You really are. You are so beautiful.
Dakota is 9. They were both born addicted to crack cocaine. Dakota, for the first, couple of weeks after he was born, was severely malnourished. She just didn't feed him.
You're getting so tall. You're getting tall, baby.
Prior to being incarcerated, she was so out there, she had no clue. It's nice that they can see her and her actually be able to talk to him and understand what they're saying to her.
Bye, baby. I love you. It's hard because I'm missing out on that. And I know she had
to see her so hurt and to know that I can't get to her to hug her or comfort her, it's really difficult. Wherever she's at, we're going to be there. And it doesn't matter if she's in jail or where she's at, we'll be there for her.
I love you, girls. I'll say bye.
Donald Nixon.
Over in the Sullivan County Jail's men's unit, Don Nixon is just days away from his release. But there's a problem, a big problem. He's been caught with tobacco. Nixon loses the orange stripes of trustee status and the perks that go along with it.
How you doing, Mr. Nixon?
He also faces an extension of his jail term. It all comes down to this evaluation.
Mr. Nixon.
Don Nixon's been busted with tobacco and is facing a prolonged jail term. It all comes down to this evaluation.
And the tobacco, they found that in your property as well.
Exactly.
You should have flushed it, not kept it, and wouldn't have been an issue, correct?
Right.
Yeah, of course I don't feel good about it all. Of course I don't. That's all I gotta say. I've lost my trustee status this time over less than 1 cigarette's worth of tobacco. Shaved off my beard, my mustache and stuff that I've had for 40 years for 5 days. Yeah. I'm distraught. I'm devastated. When I first came in, if I could have kept my trustee status, might have been out before my sister died. I would have been out before she passed away. She might not have even passed away had I been out.
It's hard to convince a lot of them to take responsibility for their own actions. I mean, a lot of them are in jail for a reason, whether they'll admit it or not. He basically pled guilty to us.
This is not Mr. Nixon's first rodeo in the facility. He's been in and out many times.
He'll be found guilty.
Back in the Sullivan County Women's Block, Savannah Ramey hopes for good news as she heads for a court hearing to determine if she'll be released.
I'm feeling nervous. Hopefully I'm going home today. I'm excited. It's bad. I already know this place. I've been here 1,000 times. That's my cousin up there. My mom here. Marlene. She's dead. She died here.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear that the evidence you give will be the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Is it? Ms. Ramey, explain to me why you didn't come back to court.
I was on other charges. I was on drugs. I won't lie about that. I did miss the court date, and I apologize for that.
You missed 2.
Yes, ma'am, I know that, and I do apologize for that.
What assurance does the court have if I gave you an OR bond, you're going to show up again?
I'm not on any other charges. I'm not on the needle no more. I am trying to do right.
Don't you think that if you're trying to get your life together, the first thing you would need to do would be to get a GED?
Yes, ma'am.
Get a job and support the 2 children that you brought into this world.
Yes, ma'am. It took a while to realize that, but yes, I do. I mean, if you give me one more chance, I promise that I will appear in court. I will be here.
Ms. Ramey, your credibility with this
I understand that. I understand that completely.
0.
I understand that.
Because I don't think that you've ever appeared in this court unless you've been forced to appear. I'll do an OR bond, but you are going to appear in this court every single Wednesday.
Yes, ma'am.
Until you got your GED and a job.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, I'm going home.
I love y'all. Mwah.
Bye, y'all.
Now, an even greater challenge lies ahead.
I can't walk out of here and go home. I'd already know that. I can't go to my mom's and even see my family because the first thing they're going to do is everybody's going to be handing me something or trying to give me something or doing something. If it's in my face, that's the first thing I'm going to think about or I'm going to do.
I hope that she makes it, I do, but as much as she wants to say that she's not going to go home to it, at some point she will, because I think sometimes society gets too much for them, and that's the only way they know how to cope with it.
Whiskey 33.
Savannah Ramey isn't the only Sullivan inmate getting good news today.
Nixon. Pack your stuff up.
Don Nixon's evaluators determined he'll finally go free.
Whiskey 33.
heading to. See y'all. Thanks a bunch. This feels good to be out. You can't imagine. It's going to be really tough. That's a hard lick to face, thinking that any minute, one little slip and there you are again. I'm smoking within 30 feet of this building. I've learned that you put your faith in God and you take it one day at a time.
Inmates at Sullivan and Ashe County jails may come and go, but jail administrators remain, and their job never gets easy. It's the start of a new day at the Sullivan County Jail, and officers fuel up for their shift. For Christopher Farmer, that includes a little protein, raw eggs.
I drink the eggs raw because I get more protein out of it than scrambling it. It's a bodybuilding diet. It's about 60 eggs a week. Just have to knock out 4, that's 32 quick grams of protein, and I'm covered for about 2 hours. So I do that 3 times a day. By today's end, I'll have 5,000 calories. Efficient eating, that's what it's all about.
I can do this. I lift weights on a daily basis.
Look at him, scared to death.
Don't be a wimp, just do it. Oh, gross. Dear God, bless its heart. Love it.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
How's that go?
No, he's gonna go puke. He's exactly what he's gonna go.
Is he puking?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't know how anybody can do that. Oh, very fun.
My boys are all keyed up.
Whether you're living or working at the jail, Sheriff Wayne Anderson always makes sure to extend some Southern hospitality.
Oh, they tell me of a home where all the storm clouds rise. Oh, they tell me of a home far away. Oh, they tell me
Santa Claus is going to jail today to visit the inmates.
Ho, ho, ho. Oh, I look forward to this every year. They're doing their time, but it's Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. I know you're in jail. It's not where you want to be, but I appreciate what you do for us.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We usually have 650, 700 people in jail, and we visit every single one of them. Merry Christmas to you.
They're just tickled that someone actually is taking the time to give them something.
There you go. Merry Christmas to you.
Some soap, shampoo, some beef jerky, oatmeal pie, little leaflet about the meaning of Christmas, which is what it's all about at the end of the day.
Mighty blessed this year, fellas. We sure are. We've all messed up in life, you know, but we're all in here doing our time. We're paying for our dues.
Hey, girls, Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. What do you want for Christmas? I know, freedom. Well, that's a good thing to have. Maybe this will help bring a little peace about yourself. Okay? Okay, y'all line up. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. There you go. Merry Christmas. Kind of lightens their day and their month and year, you know. But it'll make some of them sad because they'll miss their families.
It's definitely a lot harder when you have kids in here. Your kid's supposed to be opening their Christmas presents.
I have a mother that has dementia and hoping she'll know me when I get home.
Only time will tell how long Don Nixon stays sober and out of jail. Johnny Grubb still has a few months before he's up for parole, and Savannah Ramey needs to prove she can resist drugs and show up for court.
I'm going to my friend's house. There's no drugs there. He don't allow it.
This is clean, sober living for me. I don't approve of the drugs and stuff. Try to help her stay clean, and hopefully she will.
Yeah.
She wants to go visit her family, which I don't like to be in that environment too long. I'll be there only so long, and then it's time for me to go. If it's up to me, we'll stay for 15 or 20 minutes, but it scares me because if I drive away, I leave her there, and that's when the mess starts.
Now, just come back as soon as you leave the game.
I told you it's gonna be the same thing. That's what they do. Hopefully, it should be all right.
Takes wind out of it.